Hello fellow cyborgs! Today's video is a response to Sophie's Why I Want to Read Less, because I found this video shared a lot of feelings that I have been stewing inside of my body, and I thought she put it elegantly, and it was a lovely jumping off point for this discussion video I wanted to have with you. So in Sophie's video, Sophie from Portal in the Pages, which I will link down below, she talks a bit about why she wants to read less books. She talks about her uncomfortableness with the fact that in the Goodreads challenge, something like a children's picture book counts the same as a huge 700-page nonfiction or epic tome. She also talked about her love of longer books and being able to be in a world for a prolonged period of time, and how the idea of racing to finish a number of books a year doesn't put much value in spending time on such a long story, even though in her gut she loves doing that. And she also talked a bit about how when she reads more slowly, or when speed and getting things done isn't the priority, then she can think more deeply, more in depth about the book she's reading, which can prompt discussion videos or review videos, which she's hoping to make more of in the future. I share many of these same concerns or opinions of hers. A couple weeks ago, I surpassed my Goodreads goal for this year of 150 books because I was at a children's bookstore and I read 7 baby lit books, which are 10-page board books in a row. It took me all of 15 minutes to read those 7 books, but they still counted towards surpassing my goal. Now, I could have just not marked them as read, but they're books that I did read, so I decided to just go ahead and do that. But as far as my count in my personal reading journal, reading list, I think I'm at about 136 books that I've counted toward my 150. And by that I mean mostly poetry collections and plays, a couple children's illustrated books, but not the baby lit board books, and mostly novels or short stories or just adult fiction in general, or nonfiction. I also have really been craving longer books, or just being forced to be with a book for a prolonged period of time. Right now, I'm over the middle of Dombey and Son and just really enjoying being able to come back to that world and those characters over weeks of time and discovering new things, and having what at first was a perhaps confusing character or plot line now being an old hat, because we've moved past that and now we're at a more, mystery twist sort of thing with the characters. I also have been thinking about what's been happening and thinking about what my hopes are to come, and having the time to do it, because every day I'm visiting this book and every day I'm just slowly getting further into it. There's no way that I would be able to consume Dombey and Son in less than a week. It's just not my nature for something so big. But there are some smaller books or shorter works on my bookshelves that I'm really tempted to just sit down with for an evening and a morning and just get it done, for the sake of having it not on my shelf anymore, for the sake of having one more book to talk about. Or perhaps not even to talk about, but just to put on my Goodreads, to get it off my physical TBR shelf, and just to feel quantifiably successful. And these books, while it makes me momentarily feel successful that I've read another book, that I am a reader with a capital R, how often do I just completely forget them? And I've talked about this a bit more in my discussion video about rereading, that if I don't reread a book, or if I don't go really slowly with a book upon first reading, chances are I'm not going to remember very much about it, apart from I enjoyed it, or I loved it, or I didn't. And that's not good enough for me. My reading before BookTube, before I went away to university, was so much slower. I have no idea how much I actually read, but I know it was nowhere near 150 books. And last year, by a Goodreads count, I read 175. That would have been an inconceivable number of books for me 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I would savor a book. I would have 1, maybe 2 going on at a time, and I would tell my mom all about what I was reading, and so I would be recounting what I was reading as I was reading it and getting to know it really well and chatting about the characters and my feelings on them. Nowadays, if I can get a book read in less than 3 days, I'm just like, yes, another one bites the dust, and move on without pausing, without stopping to think. Some stories that I can get through in 3 days require thinking because they're awesome. But for the most part, 3-star books that perhaps I could have gotten more out of if I took the time to sit and ponder with them are just left by the wayside because naturally they don't make as big of an impact, and I do not want to spend the time to make them impactful. What am I getting at? What I'm getting at is that BookTube is a culture that asks you to read and to be a reader. And for some people, that gets confounded with reading lots, reading quickly. And I think that some of it too has to deal with, oh, like this person effortlessly just read 15 books in a month. What's wrong with me? Why am I not reading? Am I not reading as much? What am I doing wrong? And just comparing one another where there need not be a comparison. Some people read more quickly. Some people read so quickly and completely remember everything. Other people just read slowly, naturally. Other people don't have time to read 15 books a month. And some people want to just read 4 books a month, perhaps, because then they know that they are getting the most out of those 4 books, those 1 book a week that they put in each month's reading. As 2016 quickly comes to a close, I'm having to take stock of the books that I want to read this year, the books that I want to get to, because I can count them on all 10, 20 fingers and toes. Do I want to just read a lot of little books and get them off my shelves, or do I want to read meaningful books? In the new year, after I'm done traveling, I'm going to have to get a job and my life is going to change. I don't know how dramatically. I can't count on being able to read 150 books next year. And while I'm still going to work toward the 0 by 2018 goal, and I will probably have something like 100 books, give or take, at the end of 2016 in the beginning of 2017, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through those 100 books that are left on my TBR shelf. So I'm going to have to start prioritizing the books that I think it's really important that I get to and that I really want to be reading and thinking about. I need to pick up something that I think will be important, like Roots, rather than just getting through all of the middle grade I have on my shelves. Not to say that middle grade's not important, but the middle grade I have on my shelves I don't think is going to be life-changing. I'm going to have to allot my reading time to things that I really want to be reading, rather than things that I just could fit in for one reason or another. And I definitely still have that tendency. Right now, I have only 4 books, no, it'd be 5 books on my currently reading TBR pile, but I'm making good headway with a lot of them, and I'm feeling like I have freedom to pick up something else. Do I want to pick up a play? Do I want to pick up poetry? And it's like, Amanda, how about you just finish all those books on your currently reading pile? And how about you keep to your buddy read list, and you keep to the books that you really want to get to, and you stop obsessing over just reading as much as you can. So anyway, those are my thoughts on why in the future I will probably be reading less, but also why that might be for the good of this hobby that I love so much. Please let me know in the comments down below if you think you're rushing through your reading too much. Are you satisfied with the number of books you read a month, or do you think you need to read more or less, and why? I'm at this point in my life where I need to learn what I actually want out of life, and to not let other expectations that aren't my own muddle my thoughts and decisions. I hope that that might be something that you're going to do in regards to your reading pace, your reading number, or the books that you're choosing to read. Just be yourself and choose the path that best suits you, rather than the one that is talked about most often. Thank you for watching and listening, and until next time, continue to be lovely. You're a book turtle. Thanks to my patrons who support me on Patreon. I really appreciate you. Hope you're having a lovely day. And just really enjoying being able